Hey everybody, don't get anxious, get prepared. I'm your career engineer, Francina Harrison. I want to welcome you to our Don't Get Anxious, Get Prepared Monday live broadcast that we do on several of our platforms on YouTube, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, right? So definitely check us out. So whatever platform you're looking from, make sure you subscribe or set your reminder so you don't miss a beat with what we're doing. Today, we're going to have a real conversation about the things you should not talk about in an interview. So I know a lot of folks are always focused on, what you should say, questions you should ask, but I've come up with four of them that I really think will put you in the wrong space if you bring these up in an interview. So get your pen and paper ready, get your digital device ready, whether you're low tech, high tech. We're going to spend about 15 minutes today to deliver these four things. And if you have any questions, live, I'll answer them. Those of you who catch us later, you can put your question or comments and I will reach out to those too. So don't go anywhere. Again, your TCE will be right back. You guys know how I love pushing these little buttons like, check this out. We're back. So yes, we're going to get into this real conversation about what we should not ask at interviews. So again, if you have questions or comments, please let me know. I will share them live while we're here today. And if there aren't any, those of you catching it later, we'll get some information that you need. Of course, you can see at our screen below. Make sure you subscribe to our newsletter, TCE. Subscribe.tcenow.com. You'll get lots of information and things every Friday. We send that newsletter out. So it's loaded with tips and tricks and you get a free gift. So definitely make sure you check that out. Thursday, don't miss our TCE radio show. We're pretty excited about it. We want to make sure you're a part of that live show, and you can catch us every Thursday at 10 a.m. live at radioshow.com. It's a call-in radio show, so you can call in and actually talk to us on that show. Talk to me, bring in. Again, it's about 15 minutes long, so don't miss your beat, all right? So let's talk about this. Again, this is really trying to make sure we're not anxious, but prepared with all things interviewing, okay? But right now, we're going to get and talk about the four things you should never ask at an interview. And I'm sure there's probably more than four. But the reason I picked these four is that they're kind of common. A lot of folks do them. You mean well, you really do. However, it could put you in the wrong space. So what I don't want you to do. And again, while you're watching live or later, you can post your comments and I will answer them for you. So looking forward to it. So here's one of the big ones that I really think you should never do. I mean, never. And you mean well, but it's going to bite you on the assets if you do. So what does the company do? That is one that I think, again, it's generic. It's not threatening. It's probably honest, but really, are you going to ask that at the interview? What this question does is really promotes how you don't know how to research. Like, yikes, you showed up at a meeting. You don't know who you're talking to. You don't know what they're about. You have no info. You're going to take my time, because that's, the time is money, and ask me what I do, but you agreed to meet with me? Yikes. Not a good way to start. So to those of you who think that's a nice, safe question, come on, do your homework. We have all these new tools and technology and search engines, and you can always go to their website. If you know nothing about Google or I mean, gosh, Glassdoor and LinkedIn and all these other things that give you some super duper data, go to their website and find out more. So please do not ask this question. What do you do exactly? Like, I don't know. And people, they do it a lot and it's not good. Here's another big one. Number 2 on my list is the whole salary question. And I understand. I get it. We want to know what type of money is in it for us. Show me the money, right? I did a segment about that. Show me the money. Well, there's ways you can find out about the money. Okay. I mean, there's other ways, Glassdoor and some other, I keep saying Glassdoor all the time, but there's other, data centers that you can find stuff. You also can check it out by the way the job descriptions are worded. But here's my deal with this whole salary question. I say this in a laughing way. I said this on television earlier, but before you pop a serious question like, what is the salary? I mean, how about dinner and a movie? And I mean that those of you who are dating, before you say, "Will you marry me?" Don't you kind of get to know folk a little bit? Don't you take them out for a date? I don't know. You kind of get to know them before you pop that type of question. So I believe that's the same thing in the interview. That's a very important relationship question. And the person that should be popping that question ain't you. It should be the company. If you've said something or done something or you've really met their what they're looking for, they tend to bring that up. Okay, that's a question they need to bring it up. When you bring it up first, it kind of just tells, and I do understand we want to know about the money, but it's all you want to know about the money. So you should never bring that up. And again, most folks they think it's okay. It's hey, I need to know what my bills are. But as part of your research when working with a company or getting ready to do interviewing, you can find that stuff out. It's not as secretive as it used to be. So stay away from question number two. And a cousin to question number two is going to be question number three. The benefits, okay. Well, hey, what's your dental? What's the medical? Do you have VSP? I mean, again, really, with all the questions you could ask at an interview, you're going to use that one. So one thing I would say, there's so much more into this, but how about waiting until you get the job offer before you negotiate the fringe benefits or find out more about them? I mean, why am I going to talk to you about what it's like to sleep over at my house and I haven't even invited you to come in the front door, right? Wait till I invite you in a bit, you know, and then we can talk about which room is yours. Okay. So that's the same way with question number three. And again, I have to say this, that now, since, retention and recruiting is such a, those are two very important factors for employers today, not just getting you in, but keeping you here. So things about fringe benefits and career pathways and why you should work for us are pretty much on someone's website at this point. I mean, or you can really find this stuff out. But once you become, once the offer is made to you, you may have an opportunity to negotiate, but don't bring that up as one of your questions of the interview, right? Try to make sure that, you're kind of connected first. Let me welcome any comments. Hey, Kevin, thanks for being here. And thank you for sharing that we have good information. Now, again, we are taking any live questions if you have them. So if you want to ask me a question on this topic, I am here for you to do so. And also, if you would like to network, we can do that as well. Now, here's a question that, again, you mean well. Folks have asked it. I've even trained some people to kind of, sort of ask this question, but you want to rethink it, particularly as your last question, because, you should ask a question. Let's get it right. But for my number 4 of what not to ask, the next steps. I mean, and again, what are the next steps? What should I expect? Those kind of things. I mean, they're nice, they're honest. And I'm going to give this a gray area because this is such a low impact question. I mean, when it's your time to ask questions of the interviewer, you should have them, but you should really have some well thought out, strategic questions so you can get some information so you can decide if this is a good place for you. It may not be the right place for you just because you had an interview. So that question, actually, it's more, and it's always, people ask this last. I mean, it's always the last one. Like, okay, so what's the next step? And then they're going to tell you la-di-da and la-di-da. So why leave that impression? So I would say to you, don't ask this. I mean, find something else. But if you did ask this, like, please don't. But if you do, don't make it be your last, because that's the lingering impression you leave. You should ask something else that's really more impressive, more energy, more showing that you are the person, something like, what is exactly that are you looking for in a candidate? Maybe even a question in terms of the sign of the times. Yeah, I'm glad I'm entering for you today. I really enjoyed this meeting we've had. I'm really excited about maybe being part of your team. But how did your company handle the COVID last year? What strategies did you put in place to maintain and sustain with your employees? See, that's a question I'd love to know with anybody I'm working with right now. How did you handle COVID in 2020? And what are your thoughts moving forward? See, that's a question I would leave as a, lasting impression versus what are your next steps in the process? I mean, I can find that out. Or instead of something like that, it's almost like, hey, when will you make your decision? May I give you a call? Because I want you to know I really want to work for you and I would like to be a part of your team. See, that's a lasting question. But what's the next steps? Kind of low energy, very boring. Okay, very boring. So again, for those of you who may have just tuned in, we every Monday we're here and we're sharing at 12 noon on different platforms. Some content, new content for you to empower your career, your life, and business. And these questions here, even though they are for our career seekers or our job changers or what have you, if you're an entrepreneur, these questions are important too, because you have to know how to interview as a business owner. Let's just say you're going to be talking to somebody about some because of some, you're going to have a business meeting. Let's see. Mr. Kevin says, has interviewing changed because of Zoom? Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And there's some definitely do's and don'ts with Zoom. And maybe, Mr. Jones, that's really a great question. Perhaps that's something I could do a segment about maybe even next week. I mean, we're all Zooming, but there's some definitely do's and don'ts with Zooming as well. And some folks have gotten so lax, which is a dangerous thing, with interviews because they don't have on pants and all this kind of mess, or some folks don't even wash their faces anymore, or their backgrounds are not reflective of the brand that they want to convey. So yes, Zoom has really changed the game, and WebEx or other platforms that the employers may choose to use. And everyone doesn't use them. Some uses Teams. So it's really important that career changers and job seekers learn to master all three of those platforms, because you never know. I mean, somebody might even throw a curve and use Skype, right? So, but how you command these spaces too is very, very important. But that's a very, very good question. But Zoom has changed the game. And then making sure that your camera is right and that your lighting is right and all that kind of good stuff is very important for Zoom. So that is a wonderful question. And thank you for asking that. So again, for those of you who, unsure who we are, you'll make sure you check us out. If you can see a little ticker below sharing how you can find us and all kinds of good stuff. But I am your career engineer. And again, what we like to do is always have a Don't Get Anxious, Get Prepared segment covering, of course, job search, career search, entrepreneurship, and making sure we have life more exciting. So I want to thank you for tuning in. Those who've caught me live, thank you for being here. Remember, 12 noon on Mondays, we're here. Find us on our YouTube channel. And thank you all for the over 1,000 subscribers. We really appreciate that. But again, we will see you next time. And if there's any other questions, make sure you just reach out to us at our website and things. TCEnow.com is how you can find us. I'm trying to close something so I can make sure I don't miss. I like to make sure I don't miss any questions when people ask them of me. So again, we thank you so much for being a part of our show today. And remember, don't get anxious, get prepared. Have a blessed week. Have a purposeful week. Have a powerful week, and make every step count. Be blessed. We'll talk soon.